Well, one thing is for sure, ladies and gentlemen, if you're an apprentice to Palpatine, then you are not suffering for riches, because both apprentices, both Vader and Count Dooku, had their own castles, and by what we learned in the premiere of Bad Batch Season 2, Count Dooku was enormously rich, not only stealing from his separatist planet, separatist allies, contributing to his war effort, but he was also stealing from his own people on Sereno. It's typical at this point that the backstory of Count Dooku is pretty much different from Legends and canon, and this time around it differs by a lot. You see, canon has borrowed a lot from Legends, as it should, because Legends was actually a step. By what canon did with Legends is remove the overcomplicated stuff and just get the easy things, the standard stuff, into the fold as well. But in an unused concept back in the day in Attack of the Clones, Dooku's home base was actually on a graveyard planet, then it moved on to being his castle on a moon, but by the time the Clone Wars came around, Count Dooku was a member of the Sereno ruling family, a royal family. At the time, Count Dooku surrendered his heritage and became a Jedi. That is, until he renounced the Jedi ways and went back to claiming his throne and actually being the sole leader of the Separatist movement. However, what we know about Count Dooku is that either if it is Legends or canon, he still had a castle, meaning he was always rich one way or another. But being kings of Sereno is something different. Waging war against the Republic, now he needs contributors for the war effort, and as we see by the Clone Wars animated show, the contributors were either voluntary participants or involuntary. Through sheer terror, they would occupy planets and pillage their resources wherever they could find. It's actually Romar that informs us of the bigger treacheries that happened under Count Dooku's reign. This is a brand new information that we didn't have an idea of beforehand. We knew from the Clone Wars animated show, as I said earlier, that the Separatists did not take much care of their allies. If they weren't all too powerful, then they would be simply stepped on, crushed, and dominant. Anything that they had to offer would be extracted. This is a counter move from the Republic, which was able to recruit many planets to its side, but used diplomacy instead of fear. In episode 1 and 2, Tech, Echo, and Omega encounter a local Sereno man called Romar while they're trying to hide from the Empire. He shelters them, but we are clearly made aware that Romar is different from any other stranger that they have encountered, because this guy truly understands oppression. The moment the guys mention Count Dooku, Romar responds with aggression. To him, Count Dooku was just a rich a-hole who took more than he deserved from the people he was supposed to lead. This is when you encounter the realities of this world too, that even though we complain of other factions, other organizations, ultimately the real truth, and this is where it was inspired for Count Dooku's storyline as well, is that the people who are under their command, under the reign of these people / organizations / governments, suffer the most. This was the case for the Sereno people under Count Dooku, and Romar even goes a step further, telling the clones that you wouldn't even imagine Sereno having a history beyond the Separatists, beyond Dooku. It's very interesting to me that the Bad Batch has also been echoing a lot of themes from Andor too. It seems like Disney is skewing the way for these TV shows and series and animated shows to kind of portray the same message, that what the Empire did is essentially colonize every single planet that they could grab their hands on, and colonizing does not just mean occupation. You see, Romar recognized that the Empire is just another kind of tyrant. He would not be able to utter a good word about the Republic as well. This is kind of goes in line with the Aldhani episode in the Andor series too. Both in Andor and Bad Batch we see that the Empire is erasing the history of cultures, that people also feared what the Republic started, now the Empire will finish. Once they landed on their planet, they will never now leave. And what Romar understands is that while Count Dooku stole all of the riches from its people in the quote-unquote war effort, now the Empire is taking everything for themselves. So the people are stolen from and never repaid back. This money will never come back to this planet or to this people. well. Its resources have been essentially plundered by either, and who cares whether it was Count Dooku or the Empire. All it is the end result. Sereno was bombarded and stolen from. To Romar, there is a new war effort now that the Empire is heading. We know that Death Stars will be coming, stormtroopers policing the entire galaxy. That is expensive, not cheap. And Dooku's quote-unquote contribution will be very much helpful. At the end of the day, though, you have to give credit to what Dave Filoni did with Count Dooku. That character, it did a lot of justice to the character of Count Dooku. Good or evil, he was just too grand of a character to be just cast aside as having one movie and then being killed on the third movie. Dave Filoni with Tales of the Jedi and The Bad Batch now has made sure for us to really understand and know what was Count Dooku in the early and the latter days of his life. Tales of the Jedi devoted 3 episodes to Count Dooku, from his younger days to his demise fall to the Sith. Now The Bad Batch Season 2 devoted 2 episodes post-mortem to Count Dooku. We still have much things to learn about this character and why he was despised by his own people on Sereno. Very important. And for me, it's not really out of the realm of possibility that Sereno might be featured again in Star Wars, that this might not be the end, because I really enjoyed those 2 episodes, watching the aftermath of what the Empire did post Count Dooku and post Separatist, post War of the Clone Wars. And it's interesting to know that the Acolyte now is coming, and since it is more of a dark side theme, then it wouldn't be crazy for us to maybe visit Castle Sereno here and there. We also have Jedi Survivor, the video game, coming up, and it is set 10 years or so after The Bad Batch. We might see what happened even more into the future, what happened to Sereno and its people. Maybe Romar is still alive, so we can understand more of the rich culture history that Sereno once had and how did they rebuild, knowing that the Separatists left them, the Empire is dominating them, stealing from them. How is this planet coping? But what did you guys think of knowing now that Count Dooku is hated by his own people, let alone people across the galaxy, even Separatists who feel like he let them down, and the Republic, now the Empire, of course, running propaganda that he was the enemy. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies. Now you have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. See you in the next video, and may the Force be with you. Until then.